Welcome back. 10:38, a little bit of change on this Thursday. I keep forgetting. It's so wild that Thursday's already here. May's flying by, Jason. And we aren't talking about pile drivers or getting hit in the head with a steel chair today, but, it's this MindsEye I've been following since your journey began, and it's so cool to see how this has grown. And this BeepBall World Series and this BeepBall in general is such a wonderful and such a cool thing, and it's so great to have you here to talk about this.
No, I'm glad you had me in. I said we could go throwback and talk about a little pro wrestling. But we actually audio describe some pro wrestling stuff too for MindsEye, so it's not too far fetched. We got a bunch of pro wrestling guys on the team. It's funny because one of our guys uses a whole. We're probably going way, but they use the whole Jacob Fatu thing. I know where he gets it from. It's like no gas, all gas, no brakes. I'm like, I know where that comes from.
Well, man, before we go into the BeepBall World Series, take me through MindsEye Radio, and for the folks in our coverage area that aren't too familiar with it, just an overview of what you guys are all about.
So what we do at MindsEye, we translate vision to audio and to build a more inclusive community for those in the blind or vision impaired community. We do it through 3 programs. A lot of people who've been in this area for quite some time probably remember that MindsEye is a radio reading service. That's what we started out as in 1973. We read newspapers, magazines, books. So you think about any printed material that someone would need to access. Even if you think about grocery store ads, we read Schnucks ads, Walgreens, and even now one of the latest evolutions of our broadcast program is actually bringing podcasts who are done by blind, visually impaired podcasters. And then you kind of get the other programs that we've added now with audio description and also adaptive athletics. That's
really cool. And with the bringing in the podcasting and everything else, I know I was just on Brian's show and really just had a good time with that. But bringing all these nuances to this is really just such a cool thing because, you're talking about, reading grocery, store ads and doing things that, you and I would never think twice about, having any issue with. And it's just interesting and really cool to know about organizations like this that are, have been there and have been that tool to utilize.
Yeah, you kind of, like you said, just even the grocery store ads, we take it for granted. Like you or I, we are excited. So when I go to a store, I do no prep work. That's why I don't get to go that often.
Right.
My wife is like, Jason probably shouldn't go to the grocery store. But I'm in there, I can see that if I go to Schnucks, I can see the yellow stickers or whatever. But if someone who's going and trying to make the best decisions to save money as a shopper and they're blind or low vision, it's hard to navigate those through a store in real time. So to give them that information ahead of time so they can make those decisions is important. When we talk about the podcast done by people who are blind or visually impaired, there's a gentleman who has a podcast on our network, Langford Cunningham. He hosts Blind City. And one of the things he told me was a very powerful quote, when we talk about people listening. And he was, blind people are always asked to listen, but when do we ever get a chance to speak? And I remember him saying, and that's kind of what started that journey about podcasting and making sure we have a show where a guy talks about grilling, who's a blind griller. Langford, of course, that I just mentioned, talks about just different issues in the city of St. Louis and the areas throughout. And also we have blind athletes who do sports podcasts talking about adaptive sports, but also their take on some pro sports as well. So it's just cool to have that voice linked to the blind community on the broadcast side.
And how can we find the MindsEye broadcasts in the network?
So when I first started there, I would have to tell you one way. It used to be where we would send to each individual listener a small radio box. It had one knob and it had MindsEye Radio on there. That's how you would access. That changed. I've been there now 12 years. It changed about year 3 where we start now, hey, you can go on the website. Now, if you have, turn off your Amazon devices. I'm going to say, play Alexa, play MindsEye, and MindsEye will pop up. You can get all the programs on demand. So not only can you do it to listen to we're air programs 24/7, all those programs are read by volunteers, but you can get it on the app. And we also have a MindsEye app now too. So if you have an Android or iPhone, there's a MindsEye Radio app that you can also access where you can listen to the live stream or you can listen to on-demand programs each day.
Really cool. And now as we go into adaptive sports and this BeepBall World Series, take me through MindsEye's involvement and participation when it comes to this.
That journey changed quite a bit too.
Okay.
So when I first started at MindsEye, I think we talked earlier, we kind of hinted, you know me from a different world.
Yeah.
When I first started at MindsEye, I also was at 101 ESPN. I'm a big sports guy. I'm always loved sports, no matter if it's pro wrestling. I know some people are like, that's not a sport, but it is.
It is.
It's real to us. So we're going to keep it that way.
It was real to my back, too.
You talk about MMA, you talk about baseball, football, I watch it all. So when I got to MindsEye, I said, hey, every year, once a year, we do this ultimate BeepBall tournament. We do it. It's a way to raise awareness about what we do at the radio side, because it was the only program at that time. And it's played the pitchers on the batting team. They are trying to actually get the players to make contact. You're not trying to strike out the batter. That's not the object of the game. So the pitcher's basically trying to make contact with that batter. Then they have to run to a base. That's a tall tackling dummy, makes a noise. The ball is called BeepBall because the ball actually beeps. Mm-hmm. And I was just fascinated by all the aspects of this sport, because with baseball, some of the things we also talk about, when you just think about the things you're talking about when you're playing Little League baseball. Hey, see the ball, hit the ball, look the ball into your glove. All these things that are so visual. And here's a sport, America's pastime, that's played without the use of vision at a very high level. At this time, I knew it as a couple teams from the community, a couple corporations getting out there, learning more about people with vision loss, but not really, it wasn't at a high level then. It was, okay, like one run is being scored in the game. Mm-hmm. And then we got asked about, hey, can you do some of these demonstrations at offices or maybe schools? And 2019, I was asked by a gentleman who said, hey, MindsEye does BeepBall. There's a BeepBall World Series that takes place where you have all these teams come from all over the place. Why don't you do it? At first I said no. CJ, I was like, I don't know if we should do that. Then I got talked to and I said, hey, like, maybe we'll just go to the World Series. That's all we'll do. And fast forward now, we're in our second year of hosting the World Series. And as I talk to you, I'm getting ready to go to Indianapolis for our team, the Gateway Archers, to play in a regional tournament this weekend.
Well, and the thing is, I had no knowledge of BeepBall before I started seeing your posts on Facebook. And the more I saw it, I mean, you hit it right on the head. I mean, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen, to be able to play a sport that you have to be so visual. And it's not, I mean, there's some things that you can, some athletes, like when I was playing soccer, hell, I didn't need to see where I was going half the time because you visualize and you just kind of know when it's second nature. But when you got a ball traveling at you and you have a stick to use to get it to where you need to go, heck, we all know people that can see 20/20 and they can't hit a ball to save their life. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, yeah, I've seen that too. So like,
this is so cool.
Yeah, and that's what I say. And that's also, look at it from an aspect of, it's this sport where you need a lot of communication, because a lot of parts have to work, even if you have the pitcher sighted. So hitting the ball is based more on communication than is the beeping ball. But when the ball was put in play, the defenders who are trying to retrieve that ball and get it before the runner hits that base, if they get it before the runner hits the base, it's an out. Okay. If they get to the base versus a run scored. And the bases are random, so you don't know if you're running to first or third. Gotcha. So you also got to use your ears to say, okay, am I going first or third? But even on the defensive side, you have two people there in the background that are spotters. And they're calling out as a zone. So they know, the teams know their zones. Like they call zone 6, that's typically right up the middle of the field. So the defenders start collapsing in. And with the biggest problem, I'm used to it now, but the biggest amazement for me when we first started doing it at this level, the national level, was, I'm like, I know they call it the 6. How are these guys not running into each other? They're right. They're perfectly zippering up where they're collapsing behind each other. I'm like, this is amazing. And it's just, it's just so many fascinating sports of just the physical nature, but also the mental nature, and kind of just, the professionalism of knowing how to play, knowing where your teammates are at, knowing where the zones are not going to be at. It's just absolutely fascinating once you're involved.
It's such a cool thing. And for, people that are, maybe younger that are, visually impaired or blind to know that you aren't going to be able to miss out on things like, baseball and different opportunities because of things like that. It's such a cool thing. And now, if you're just tuning in, the World Series is going to be July 20th through the 26th. It's the 2025 National Beep Baseball, Association World Series. And now this is going to be in 2 spots around the Metro East.
Yeah, so last year we hosted in 24. We hosted it at Slyman Soccer Complex in St. Charles. We've made a change this year. So this year we'll be on the Illinois side. We'll be right down from where we're at now here in Alton. We'll be at Glen-Ed West, which is on the campus of SIUE, not too far from the softball stadium, Cordy Stadium. You're familiar with that area. And then we'll also have a second location, which will be Reiniger Memorial Soccer Complex in Caseyville, Illinois. So those will have games going. The games will start on Tuesday, the 22nd. There's some festivities starting that Monday night, but Tuesday through Saturday games are going all day consistently. So it's a lot of things that when you're hosting a BeepBall World Series, of course, there's things about on-field play, but also part of the sport too is the camaraderie of the players. Mm-hmm. It's also the network. Part of it is also some logistics you don't think about, like in the World Series. People bring their guide dogs. The guide dogs had to go somewhere.
Oh, yeah,
games.
Yeah.
So doggy daycare.
That's cool as hell. That is so cool.
So you got to have, just those things are part of logistics that people don't think about when they're hosting sporting events. So it's a pretty big deal and also needs a lot of support. And I know volunteers are crucial to making this event go off without a hitch.
100%. And now, are there still sponsorship opportunities for this event too?
Yes, there's sponsorship opportunities. Like if someone wants to support the doggy daycare, mm-hmm. there's an opportunity for that. Also, one of the things we talk about is providing transportation to and from fields because the players are not able to get there from the hotel on their own. So making sure we have transportation, so there's sponsorships for that. Some of the cool things I talked about on Monday night, there is a cool clinic where we actually introduce kids from the area who maybe have not played beep baseball to the sport.
Wow.
So we started trying to build future athletes and getting them ready to participate in the World Series. Last year we had about 40 kids come out and participate. And I even recommend that to kids who are sighted. Just so, because so many of the volunteer positions for beep baseball when you're on a team need sighted volunteers. So, and I also think it's a good way to just, like you said, kind of get kids to understand that no matter what level you're at, no matter what ability, as long as things are made accessible, you can participate.
Yeah.
I have an 8-year-old son, and he helps out. He tries his best to guide players into the tent without running them into the tent. It's still a work in progress, but he's getting that knowledge and being around the community. And I just think that's a valuable source going down the line just for him and anybody of youth. So there's also ways to sponsor that activity as well.
It really is. And it's one of those too where, like you said, the younger you can show support and volunteerism and stuff, it's really cool. I mean, these sponsorship levels are really affordable too. The field sponsors at $2,500 or the Cool or Wool sponsor. I was thinking of the Cools that I used to smoke. Kids of Our League is what Cool stands for. Women of Our League is Wool, and it's $1,000 sponsor. The BeepBall sponsors $500, or you can sponsor that doggy daycare for $250. There's also program ads in there, and honestly, it's just it's an event that you want to support because of just how cool it is. I mean, this is really just something that I've wanted to talk about for a while. And
I think if people get a chance to come see it and come be a part of it, it's addictive. Like I said. And I'm one of those people who got addicted. I came out and I said, we're going to do one tournament, as I mentioned. And now I think we go to 5. Someone was talking to me for another team. They're like, because we have a team that we sponsor, the Gateway Archers. Mm-hmm. It's our local team here. The MindsEye also sponsors and rallies behind. And someone's like, you guys go to like 5 tournaments a year plus the World Series. I say, yeah, we kind of went all in, but it's a joy of seeing those guys compete and, seeing also the other players. Because even though when we're competing against teams in the field, I'm such a fan of some of the players you see out there that have competed at a high level, do some amazing things in the field. Even if they're helping in games where they're beating us with these amazing plays, I'm like, after the game, I can appreciate it a little bit. But during the game, I'm like, could you have not missed that ball or not hit the ball so far? But no, it's just kind of cool to be around the community too.
Well, and honestly, it's one that I think the public would be interested in just going and being a part of and supporting and cheering on too. Just to watch a game and see what it's like, because this is something that really is just so cool and takes so much talent to do. I mean, this is not easy.
Oh no, definitely not. Like last year, we had so many people who came out not only to support, but people came out to volunteer. That's one of the things. We need about 91 volunteers per day. So they came out. Some people come out on that Tuesday and they're like, hey, I'm going to be out here Tuesday at 8 a.m. And I see them Wednesday at 11, Thursday at 11. And, they keep coming throughout the week because they kind of just got the bug. They wanted to be around because there were jobs that were pretty easy to do, but they're important to do for the game to make sure that we run everything without a hitch for the players throughout that week. 100%.
Now, what's the best way to get information on volunteer opportunities, or how to just say, hey, I'm ready to help?
So same source. You can go there for volunteer opportunities, more information about the location to watch games, but also to sponsorships. It's going to be MindsEyeRadio.org/World Series.
Man, he has no notes too. That was impressive. I have script books because I don't know how to remember my own name, Jason.
Yeah. When you do it for a little bit, everything starts coming second nature a little bit.
Well, and for more information on MindsEye Radio as a whole, and really just some of the great work being done, and also how you can tune in, it's MindsEyeRadio.org. You can get that full list, or the Alexa, which is a great feature too, where you just say, hey, Alexa, play MindsEye.
Yeah. And I think if you want to be a listener, but also one program we have not really touched about, and we see some cool things too, is audio description events. So we also audio describe sporting events. The Munis coming up. The Muni season will be there Monday and Saturday, Cardinal games.
Oh, wow.
Even if you look on City SC, we audio describe every City SC home game, and there'll be a pretty cool feature on their website today or in the next couple of days about MindsEye, an event we did with them. So check all that out. Make sure you check the calendar. Get out. We want to make sure we talk about building a more inclusive community. It's not only through making sure people know what's going on in the community through the radio side, or being out there in the baseball field, or even going to an audio description event. Being a part of the community as a whole and just knowing what's going on, being able to be included in events that normally people would be included in, is a special thing. Something that, like I said, we've taken for granted, but seeing people just to get to have those opportunities has been amazing for me in my 13 years at MindsEye.
Man, thank you so much for stopping by and filling us in on this. I've been really excited to talk about MindsEye as a whole, but also just BeepBall, because like you said, the talent and just how cool of a game it is, and really just one I hope you guys are a part of, whether or not you're volunteering or sponsoring this wonderful event, July the 20th through the 25th, 2 locations in Caseyville and in at the is it Edwardsville or Glen-Carbon?
It's at Edwardsville and in the Edwardsville area, right on SIU campus.
Glen-Ed, that Glen-Ed name always just throws me off. I'm like, man, what part of it? Hey, be a part of this, though, and tune in. You can also hear a previous conversation that I just had on MindsEye Radio with Brian. That was a pretty good one. We were over there having some fun at Max and all the other great programming and content there, too. MindsEyeRadio.org/World Series for more on that. We'll link everything in an article on RiverBender.com. Jason, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you. Next time we'll chat about some pro wrestling next time.
Absolutely. I'm ready for it. Hey, we'll take a quick break and we'll wrap up Thursday morning after this.